The Reverend Nancy Frausto has gained notoriety around the country because she has basically owned the fact that she is a dreamer. And she is not only just claiming that, but she is calling our spirituality, our Christianity, into that experience that she is having as a dreamer in the United States. And in a lot of ways for us in the Episcopal Church, it's also a way to humanize this story, to make it's not just about them, but it is about Nancy. So it is my pleasure to welcome to the table the Reverend Nancy Frausto, who's also, I must say, a member of the Diocese of Los Angeles, and I'm so glad you're here, my sister.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So I got to say, first of all, and we'll talk about your presentation today at convention, which knocked it out of the ballpark, I think. It was just, today, the whole, and it's on demand if you haven't yet seen it, take a moment to take a look at those conversations today. This TEC conversation was profound, was impactful, was something, it was worth the time to take out, to bring together both houses of this convention, to listen to it and to be a part of it. And I am so glad that we had that opportunity, because it's a conversation we need to have.
For sure, yeah.
But before we get to that, you said y'all today on stage.
I said y'all, yes. I am practicing my slang.
You have been in Texas for like 3 days and already you're y'alling all over the place.
Oh, wait for tomorrow when I wear my cowboy boots.
Oh, well, I could have seen that one coming, couldn't I? So before we get to that though, Nancy, I know you, I'm proud to know you. Let's hear a little bit about your story. Let's hear about the Nancy. You came to the United States when you were 7 years old, right?
Correct, yes.
And tell me about that story, because I can only imagine what it must be like for a 7-year-old to say, I want to be with Dad. Yeah. What's that like?
You know, as a 7-year-old, you don't know much. You just know you miss your dad. You miss being with your family. You miss the whole family being together. And my parents had to make some very difficult decisions. And they had to get us out of a situation that was dangerous. I will say this, I mean, if they hadn't gotten us out of there, I don't know where I would be today. I don't even know if I would be alive today. There's so many of my cousins, of my uncles that have disappeared in the night. And that's the reality we live in. So coming to the United States was a very difficult decision for my parents. It was something that they didn't take lightly. They were leaving everything they knew behind. And they brought us to a place where we weren't sure if we were going to be okay, but we knew it was going to be better than where we were. Yeah.
In a way, it's sort of biblical, isn't it? In the sense of God saying, leave everything behind. I have a better tomorrow for you. Yeah. Just follow.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that I speak about very openly about is, like, I love when they use the term dreamer, but we're not the dreamers. Our parents are the dreamers. When we're thinking about that dream, our parents were the ones that had that dream to get us out of the pain, out of the suffering, out of the hunger, out of the violence. And they risked it all for their children. So I wear the name of a dreamer proudly, but I wear it reminding myself that this is for all the parents out there who have left everything behind for their kids.
And it's so, what's it, I gotta ask you, what's it like when you hear someone refer to dreamers, to those who are seeking a better life, as them?
Well, it really tests my Christian love.
Well, I can imagine, but it does, I mean, that's gotta go like deep.
Well, I mean, of course it goes deep, and not just for myself, but because I know of so many wonderful, amazing people that have left everything behind to come into this country to better themselves and really are doing amazing things in this country, right? Yeah. And we have been dehumanized. We have to justify our existence every 5 minutes. Are we worthy enough to be in the United States? And let me tell you, we are.
I absolutely. And you know, you came to the United States. You grew up in the United States. You went to school in the U.S. Tell me a little bit about your call, because I'm imagining this 7-year-old girl who's come to the U.S. It's a new world. You're learning a new language, right? It's not as if though you came with Rosetta Stone and you were listening and learning. So you came over here. You grew up. Where was that spark that said, there's something about this vocation thing?
Well, I've always been into God. Like, God and me, we like this.
That's good.
I know, right? And I remember my mom saying that even as a little kid, I used to play around with my imaginary friends, which were baby Jesus and my guardian angel. So, hey, I got cool imaginary friends.
I was going to say, wow. I had like a doll, I think, that I played with or something.
No.
Teddy bear.
No, my guardian angel was always playing jokes on me. But like, yes, I've always really been into God and conversations about God. And even as a little kid, I would go to every single denomination, to every single church, and just want to talk about God. Like, I mean, no joke. I have no idea how many times I've been saved. Because every time I would walk into an evangelical church and they would say, if you want to be saved, raise your hand. I was like right here.
Save me again,
save me again. I'm here, I'm ready. But I would love having these conversations about God because I found God so interesting and I had so many questions. And it was in the Episcopal Church, actually, that we totally got there by mistake because my parents thought it was a Roman Catholic church.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
But when we got there, I was asking the priest all these questions. Instead of him being mad at me for asking or doubting like others had been, he gave me permission to continue to ask and explore. And that was the moment I knew I was home. Like this was the place where I could get to know God better. And I mean, that was when I was about like 9, 10 years old, and I never left.
You've been home ever since.
I've been home ever since.
And that's, I think, important for us as the Episcopal Church to recognize that it is our prophetic voice. It is what I call our prophetic voice. This is certainly not the stance of the official stance of the church. But I've always seen, and I saw when the presiding bishop was here and when President Jennings was here and they spoke about the fact that we're moving forward. It may take time. It may take a little bit of effort. It may take some conflict. But ultimately, our church moves forward. And that was something that to you felt like home.
Yeah, definitely. And then when I found out that I could have a place at the altar, like I could wear one of those cool white things around my neck, I was loving it. I had a place, and I had somewhere where my voice mattered. And this is not to say that the Episcopal Church is perfect, because we know it's not. We still have a lot of work to do and a lot of growing up to do. And there's many issues where we still need to hash things out. But we're trying, and I said it once, I'll say it again. Like, the church has been there for me in amazing ways. The church has really healed me when I was broken and ready to give everything up because of my legal status. So I have a lot to thank to the church, and because I love the church, I am always the first to talk about the issues of racism because I love it. I'm not racism. I love the church.
Yeah, let me correct you there for a second. But so you think you love the church so much that you can call it out on something that it might be doing that you think could stand for us to look at and have a conversation about?
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't love the church, I would have walked away a long time ago.
Amen. So you also, so let's get to today. So you've been ordained a priest. How many years now? It's
5.
Been 5 years.
I am no longer a baby priest.
That's right. Welcome, right? And you've spoken about the beloved community. You spoke about the dark days that sometimes has. I'm always. There seems to be a thing that people think, once I accept Jesus, once I welcome the church, once I welcome God, it'll be easy for me. It's like winning the lotto, right? Everything's just going to be fine tomorrow. And whereas the reality is like, oh, not only do I still have the problems that were there before, but at least now I feel though that Jesus is with me. Tell me, so you talked today about these dark days, and I applaud you for being vulnerable on that stage in front of all these people and just calling out on it. And one of the things that you said today, and we have a clip of this that I want to show in just a second. One of the things that you spoke about today was that your own faith has been challenged and you were upset at God. Mike, can we go ahead and roll the tape? Let's watch this.
And then I went a little bit deeper into that. And I remember Jesus saying, hey, well, okay, he didn't say it like this, but this is my interpretation. I'm here now. I'm right here. Remove that rock. Now, I want to get this correctly because I know you will start tweeting if I don't. But if I remember correctly, after the rock was removed, Lazarus' body was just there. And Jesus said something to the people. Unbind him. Let him go. Imagine us, as the body of Christ, unbinding this country, unbinding our church from the bondage of racism, unbinding it from the rope starts to choke us out because of our differences. Imagine us really unbinding and letting life come forth. We have a lot of work to do. We need all of you to jump in, ready to do that work, ready to unbind, ready to hear truths that will make you uncomfortable.
That's a beautiful clip. We got work to do. We got to take these ropes that are holding us down, and it's such a beautiful image, though, in the sense of Jesus is there. He's calling us to more, right? Where does that come from in you? Where does the strength come from in you to do this? Seriously, Nancy.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Where's it come from?
I am the daughter of Catalina Renteria and Manuel Frausto. That's where my strength comes from my parents. I mean, obviously, like, there's more to that, but seeing everything they had to give up,
yeah,
lets me know I can't give up. You know, they had to leave everything behind, leave their dreams.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I am going to let the darkness, to let the hatred, to let the fear win. Because of my parents, because of the parents of all the dreamers out there, for all the immigrant parents who are working 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jobs to pay the bills. And my strength also comes from the fact that I know that even in moments when I feel that Jesus is absent, that God is nowhere to be found, like in the back of my mind, I have to remind myself, like, don't lose faith. Don't lose faith in all of this. Don't lose faith in God. And like I said there, like I get mad and I yell and I scream and I use very unpriestly words. But God can take it.
Yes, if anyone can, it is God. And what's interesting also, though, let's be clear, none of this is just for your own status. None of this is just for your own work. None of this, and I say that because I happen to be close to the work that you're doing, because I live in Los Angeles. And so I see the work that you're doing at St. Luke's. Talk to me about the work that you're all doing with the LGBTQ youth from Uganda, right?
Yeah, so we have an amazing, amazing ministry, which the lay leaders that are taking this on have been for years been connected now in resettling LGBTQ young adults from Uganda that have been, chased away because of the Kill the Gays law. Some of them, their own families turned them in. So they've been running for their lives. And they are now trapped in Nairobi with no hope of being resettled anywhere. So we had been able at St. Luke's to resettle about 15 to 20 young adults.
So one parish is resettling refugees.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about the power of the lay people, right?
Right.
That come together.
Well, and there's so much need when it comes to refugees, but the focus really at St. Luke's has been refugees, that are LGBT, because we recognize that they are in immense danger. And like right now, we have a connection with about 30 of them that are stuck in Nairobi. Like they have no way out because of certain policies. We have no idea when, if ever, will we be able to get them out. So the laity got together and they said, okay, how can this ministry continue? Obviously, we can't resettle them in the United States. So what we're going to do is we're going to be writing letters to them, letting them know they're not alone. We are going to continue fundraising to make sure that we can send them money so that they can survive, they can live, because they're refugees, they're not allowed to work. So how are they going to feed themselves?
Right.
So that's part of the work that we're doing at St. Luke's.
And it reminds me, the presiding bishop said something. He said, I said, how do you know when love is not just a feeling, when love is really the love of God and the love of Jesus? And he said, when it's outward facing, when it's not about you, when it is about the other person. Yeah. And that's what's amazing, I think, about someone like you. You have so much to be afraid of. You have so much that would seem dark to so many people, and yet your calling is to go out and to love others. and to say, it's not just about me. I'm the least, right? Don't worry about me. What about these kids who are stuck in a country that they don't know where they might be able to do, they can't even work and they can't do anything with it. And I got to tell you, that really sounds like the love of Jesus that Bishop Curry's been talking about. That really sounds like, even when you get mad at Jesus and at God, that really sounds like the love of God that's inside you. And man, it is just amazing to hear you. If somebody who's watching us, if they want to help you out, if they want to reach out to say, let me write a letter. Maybe a young person wants to write a letter to another young person who's stuck in this limbo state. How could they help you out?
They can always go check out our website, stlukes.lb.org. So it's St. Luke's Long Beach in the Diocese of Los Angeles. Check us out. Send me an email. My contact information is there. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at the Rev_Olution, the Revolution. Yes, contact me. The thing that I don't think I'm that brave, honestly, because I'm always shaken. I'm always like on the verge of tears. So I'm not really that brave.
I think that's exactly how you know you're brave, when you're afraid. If you were standing here saying everything's fine and I don't need anybody or anything else, and I've got it all under control, then I would be afraid and say she's just a fraud. The fact that you're vulnerable enough to sit here and say, I am scared, you know what, and still I go forward. Still I move on.
Well, and I go forward because I have so many people supporting me, so many people behind me. The way the church has stood up, and I want to make it clear, this is not about Nancy Frausto. This is not about the DACA priests. Forget the DACA priests. This is about so many people who are hurting. And one of the points in my talk today was that we can't just make it about immigration either. We have to make it about all the communities of color who are being oppressed. We have to remember all the indigenous girls that have disappeared and nobody's looking for them. The fact that Flint, Michigan still doesn't have any clean water, that's an issue. You know, black bodies are hitting the ground every other day. Like, we need to be talking about all these things because this is about human dignity. This is about the work that we as Christians need to be doing, out there proclaiming the love. And because we love, we need to get out there. Like, love is not just an emotion, it is an action. So you need to get out there and do some work.
And that is, as you say, that those are the steps that will take us to becoming a beloved community of God. Nancy, the work, I continue to be amazed by I know that you don't take it seriously when I say it because we're friends, and that you're too but no matter how anyone feels about immigration, or no matter how anyone, and these are complex issues that don't have simple answers. If they had simple answers, we would have come up with those answers by now. But no matter how anyone feels about those things, I think anyone can look someone like you in the eye and say, I love you. I love you because you're a child of God and because you're my sister. And I think that's a good place to start. If we're going to have one of those conversations where we might disagree, beginning by saying, I love you, might be a perfect place to start.
Yeah.
And I am certain that your
Wait.
Whoa.
But you can't just say it. You have to mean it.
Well, that's true. Yes. Don't just say the words.
Yeah.
That's how we get to this work. That is, I got it before we go, and I know we're going to go in a second. You said that your imaginary friend, your angel would play jokes on you. Tell me, give me an example.
Oh God. Okay, so I'm sure there was this one time where my guardian angel pushed me down the stairs. No, don't laugh. I'm serious. Like,
sorry.
I remember, like, I was walking down the stairs and I felt someone push me. There was no one behind me. Who else could it be? It was my guardian angel.
Doesn't that defeat the purpose of guardian? if your angel is the one pushing you?
Yes, but I'm sure my guardian angel thought it was funny and was like cracking up when I fell.
You have a unique perspective on the guardian angels. The Reverend Nancy Frausto, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It is always an honor and pleasure to be in the same room with you and to have a conversation. And I'm sure your parents are proud. I know we in Los Angeles are proud, and I hope that the Episcopal Church is proud of having someone like you among us and just reminding us of our calling, our baptismal call to love and to be with others.